You've been so many to ask me the same thing again and again in the comment section over on TikTok. So here is a step-by-step tutorial of how I film and edit my dance videos. We'll talk gear, editing, color grading, export settings, and the most requested of all, movement tracking. I filmed and edited over 300 videos on TikTok and like 200 videos for YouTube. And after 8 years of struggling, I finally figured out what works for me and for my type of content. So let's get into it. To film, I use the Lumix G7 by Panasonic with a Sigma 16mm 1.4 focal length that I mount to my tripod. A 1.4 focal length is amazing because it gives you this great blurry background effect that I love. I also use my iPhone for my more day-to-day stuff. For lighting, I use the newer NL480 LED lights. It's great, you can control the warmth of the light and it's really easy to use and store. I also have a cheap ring light that I got for 30 bucks when I do closer shots, like on my face, which is doing its job really good actually. I always film in flat. It's a setting that removes the added contrast, sharpness, colors, etc. to give you more room to edit your video how you want. It means that my image will be very blend, very dull, so that when I color grade in post, it gives me more freedom. I film in 1080 by 1920 and 50 frame rates per second. Little tip that I learned the hard way and on too many occurrences is that you always need to leave more room that you think you need, because you need to crop out and zoom in your video in order to do the tracking effect that I'll show you in a minute. Also, generally speaking, it's always safer because you can always crop in, crop out, zoom in, but you can never add, if that makes sense. So that was it for the basics, like the gear that I use. But of course, you don't need all of those things to start making videos. You basically just need a smartphone and a light source like a window. So please don't give up before even starting if you don't have all of those things. I've been filming for years and I've started on an old iPhone and the sunlight. Then, let's talk post-production, where all the magic happens. Personally, my favorite parts. So, let's go to my safe space. I edit my videos in FinalCut Pro and sometimes CapCut, which is an amazing app for a free app. If you don't want to pay hundreds of dollars, it's really great actually. And everything I'll show you in FinalCut Pro can be done in CapCut. It's just gonna be slightly less precise, but clearly good enough to start with. I also have someone who works with me and she edits in Adobe Premiere Pro and she recently started on DaVinci Resolve, but personally I don't use it, so I'm just gonna talk about the two apps that I know. So, first thing first, I'm gonna create a project. It's gonna be a vertical video in 1080 by 1920 with a 50 FPS, since I shoot in 50 FPS, but always match your FPS because it can really mess up your shot. So if you film in 30, put 30 here. Then I'll drag and drop my clips and start cutting down to the part I want to keep. On my keyboard I use B to have the razor blade tool and just click to cut, or you can also hit Command B and it's going to cut right where your mouse is. I'm gonna find the start and then the end, then delete and you're left with your final clip. Now I'm gonna add the music. If you already have the file on your computer, you can just drag and drop it, just like we did with the clip, and put it under your first clip. And now you can match the audios with the audio-visual thingy. I don't know what it's called. It's just under your clip, you can see the sound spikes. It's really useful. So I'm just gonna zoom in, and to zoom I use Command plus. I hit that several times until I'm happy with the zoom, and to zoom back it's just Command minus. And here you see you can match both musics. Once your music is perfectly matched, you can go ahead and mute your first clip by dragging down the soundbar. Quick tip, if you want to use a TikTok audio, you just either download the video, or if you can't, you just record a TikTok using the sound and then download it. I'll show you how on the screen. Send yourself the video and drag and drop it, just like you would do with a regular audio or music. Then do a right click and click detached audio, drag your audio under and delete the video, and you have your TikTok audio. Now, let's color grade and make our image pretty. I always start with the basics. In your control panel to the right, you have a little triangle up there. If you click on it, it's going to open the color correction panel. I usually start by bringing the life back into my video since I filmed in flat. So I just add some saturation, and also I like to take out any yellowish, greenish colors. So I select the global right here and drag it down in the yellow just a tiny bit. Once I'm happy with the base, I go and bring in the LUTS from the effect panels that I downloaded. I don't remember specifically where I got those LUTS, but there are so many available. I link down below a few websites where you can find some for free or to buy. You can also look at the CapCut filters. There are so many great ones, and it can be a great alternative to buying LUTs. Then I just do a few adjustments here and there until I'm happy with the results, and here you go. I kinda like it. So now for the most asked question: how do I do this tracking effect where the camera seems to follow me? The answer is keyframes. Let me show you. Here, you're gonna click Transform, which is the tool that will allow you to resize and move your video. When Transform is selected, you'll have a keyframe button at the top left of your viewer. When you click, it's going to create a keyframe, which basically means that you are locking the scale and position of your video. Then, if you go to the moment in your video you want to transform and move or resize, it's going to automatically create a second keyframe because you already made the first one. Now, if you hit play, the position and size will change from your first keyframe to your second keyframe. It's basically traveling from keyframe A to keyframe B. You can add several keyframes throughout your video to create movement. Now, that's great and all, but there is a trick to make it easier to track your face, and only your face, or body, hand, whatever you want to track specifically. First, you're going to zoom your clip in to give us room to move to the side. Then you're going to add a title from your title panel up there to the top left, drag and drop it, extend it for it to be the length of the whole video. Then you're gonna write X and resize it and make it the size and positioning of your head. Now, you're gonna add your first keyframe at the beginning of the video. Make sure to be on your video and not on your title. From there, you're going to play the video frame by frame with the arrow on your keypad if you want to be very precise. Or you can just click with your mouse where you want to go if you don't want to move keyframe by keyframe, which can take a little bit more time. And each time you're going to reposition your video so that your face is always under the X or pretty close if sometimes you don't have enough space to the sides. To be sure that your keyframes are actually creating themselves, click right on your clip and select Show Video Animation. Now you can see each keyframes appearing as you go and can also come back to one to make adjustments later down the road. I've used these techniques for years and it's a great way to get familiar with this tracking process. Now I don't actually do this anymore because I like to give myself more freedom than just following the X. And what I mean by that is now for a dance video, I try and go back and forth between doing a proper motion tracking with this technique, tracking my face and movement, but also doing a simple zoom in and zoom out, just to give it a little bit more texture, like on this video. But I truly believe that it's because I trained myself with this technique that I can now do it without it and have more creative freedom when it comes to the tracking effects. Everything I just explained can be done in CapCut since it also has keyframes. There is a camera tracking effect that will do it for you, but it will require for you to film very wide as it zooms in a lot, and it's only in the Pro version, so you have to pay. But if you want to do it manually, you totally can. Now that I'm happy with the video, I'm going to export it, clicking all the way to the top right of the screen or hitting Command E. I go to Settings, select Social Platforms, Multipass Better, 1080 by 1920, and next. Once it's uploaded, I'll airdrop it to my phone. Do not send it via messages or WhatsApp because it will mess up the quality. And then I upload it to TikTok and Instagram. I always make sure to post only when I'm connected to the Wi-Fi because it seems to help with TikTok not messing up the quality. And I always make sure that the allow high quality uploads option is on in TikTok. And in Instagram, it's in settings, scroll down to go to media quality, then make sure to check that the upload at the highest quality is on. So here you go. It was a very basic tutorial on what I do at the minimum on my video. But if you'd like a more in-depth tutorial about some other video effect that I can do or how I edit my YouTube videos, which is quite a different process and a lot more complex one, just let me know. I hope this tutorial was somewhat useful to anyone. If it was, it would mean the world to me if you could hit the subscribe button so we can keep hanging out. I really hope you start making videos if it's something you long for. Don't let fear stop you, and if you're already making videos, keep going. There is always something new to learn. Tell me in the comments if you like to see anything specific in future videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! A great alternative. And it can be a great alternative. Alternative.